sit back and relax. You're listening to the WealthTech Today podcast. And I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. This podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Katie Kahl, Chief Product Officer at iPipeline. Now, Katie is relatively new to iPipeline, having joined the firm in April of last year, but she's had a long career in product management for software companies. She came to iPipeline after working for almost 9 years at Applied Systems, a widely recognized industry leader in developing insurance agency management systems, where she rose to the position of SVP of Product Management. And before that, Katie was product manager at Ceridian, a maker of human capital management systems. Now, Katie and I spoke about intelligent document processing, predictive analytics and personalization, iPipeline's roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months, and AI innovations in life insurance and annuities. And speaking of AI innovations, what is your firm's AI strategy? Do you even have one? If not, you're just flying blind into a storm of changes coming for our industry. Here at Ezra Group, we help wealth management firms turn their AI chaos into a competitive advantage. Our tech stack and AI strategy solutions are built specifically for advisory businesses, integrating custodial feeds, portfolio management systems, CRM platforms, and AI tools into a single scalable source of truth. If you want to free your firm for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk to our website, ezragroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Whether you're building or evaluating your very first AI-powered solution, or struggling with a bloated tech stack that's become a liability, the experienced team at Ezra Group will help you design, optimize, and future-proof your infrastructure. We just know what works and what doesn't. Visit Ezra Group today to learn more and schedule a free strategy call. All right, a couple of standard housekeeping chores. Please subscribe to this podcast. Yada, yada, yada. You got that. Check out our sponsor, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation, investinothers.org. And if you are a vendor selling software in the wealth management space, you need to go to our vendor portal, ezragroup.com/register, and register your product with our WealthTech Integration Score team. That way, your integration score that's available on our website will always be up to date. And now, let's kick this thing off. Here we go. I am stoked to introduce our next guest. It's Katie Kahl, Chief Product Officer at iPipeline. Katie, lovely to speak with you.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
I'm glad you can make it. Where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from just outside Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minnesota. And I'm in New Jersey. So we've got a couple different areas of the country all covered. And it's been a pretty hot summer out here in jail. I don't know how it's been for you in Minnesota.
Hot as well, but thankfully we have a lot of lakes to help cool us off. So
yes. Isn't it the land of 10,000 lakes?
It is. It's the best time to be here is summertime. So
I will have to do that. I did that once a couple years ago. I have to go back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So let's kick this off. Can you please share with the audience the 30-second elevator pitch for iPipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. So iPipeline is a SaaS provider to life and annuity insurance carriers and distributors. And what we do is we really take the content that carriers and industry partners provide us, so forms, rates, products, and we package all of those up and distribute those on our platform. We are connected to a very wide distribution network. We've got over 100 carriers, 1,200 distributors, and 500,000 agents that then take those products from our platform and sell them and distribute them more broadly to the industry. And our technology is really what packages those up and enables the sales and growth of life and annuity products.
It is a critical aspect of the business. Without this, a lot of it, we'd be back in the Stone Age, right?
Yep.
So we're here to talk about something that every podcast has to talk about, which is the impact of AI on this sector. And I wanted to start with life and annuity. So from your perspective, what are the most critical AI innovations that are reshaping life insurance and annuity sectors? And which areas are you guys, with your 500,000 agents, where are you seeing the fastest adoption rates?
Yeah, there's really two big trends that we're seeing. The first is more around consumer expectations. So those are shifting to a, digital first experience that can drive the speed and simplicity and even more personalization that consumers of newer generations are going to expect, right? So now we're seeing distribution have to have the right data platform and really deliver the right user experience in order to meet the kind of changing demands of consumers. So seeing a lot more adoption around just how do you gather information and data to pre-populate applications. Speed is coming from the ability to analyze that data more quickly, provide quicker recommendations or decisions. So that's kind of what's happening more on the distribution side of things. On the carrier side of things, that's where we're seeing more advanced analytics. AI can analyze such a vast amount of data so quickly and derive insights from that. And that can really help carriers to more quickly and with more agility assess the market, respond to the market, and bring new products to market as a result. And then if you kind of start to combine those two trends together, that's where you start to see more, again, personalized experiences. Underwriting is really transforming as well. And it just requires that big investment in the right technology to enable that.
I think you hit the nail on the head. The investment in the right technology is
Mm-hmm.
important, not just any technology. But with
Right.
the right technology, the next thing I want to talk about is intelligent document processing. So AI has been uh, very fast in the uptake when it comes to processing documents. It's very quick. We've always had OCR, natural language processing, and now in more intelligent extraction that's streamlining workflows. But how is it really impacting the insurance sector, life and annuity, long-term care, other types of insurance products?
Yeah, I think if we think about the life cycle of insurance, we're seeing it in really every phase of that. The three big ones are if you look at the very beginning of the process, which is, hey, how do insurance products even get to market in the first place? That usually starts with a form, or it starts with the requirements that define the rules of that product. So AI can play a big role in either taking a form and analyzing how do I collect the right data and even develop the right code and UI to collect that data just from the analyzation of that form. Or that same thing could be done from a requirements document. So drives a ton of speed and just the ability to get from a product definition to the UI needed to apply for that product. On the distribution side, then there is still quite a bit of paper in the industry. So if things do start with a paper application or a paper needs assessment, AI can also play a role with, okay, I'm going to analyze what's been collected in that document and then map that to the right data set that helps them apply for insurance. So it can really help drive that paper to digital conversion. And then kind of the last area would be once the application is complete and the policy document is delivered, well, then the consumer receives these very, very large, complex, filled with tons of insurance jargon documentation, and they can interact with something like a chat bot or virtual assistant to be able to ask questions about that policy and better understand their coverage. So those are just a few use cases, but again, we're really seeing that across a lot of different cycles of the insurance process.
I would imagine there's a lot of consumers who are taking their policy documents and just dropping them into ChatGPT now and saying, "Explain
Yeah,
this to me."
yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
something advisors should be worried about?
I think that, yeah, I think it is something to be concerned about because you don't want technology to start interpreting the coverage per se. Instead, you really want to guide them to the right answers in the policy. So, at iPipeline, we have a solution where we've been able to integrate that into our policy delivery system. And again, it enables us to direct them to the right area of the policy to answer their questions without the risk of that interpretation. And I think if carriers don't start to offer, or distributors don't offer that same capability and really integrate it with their consumer experience, they're going to run the risk of them, consumers doing that on their own.
You mentioned driving the paper to digital conversion. Are you still seeing clients using paper, or is that pretty much gone by the wayside?
No, we are still seeing that. There's still a much higher than you'd expect percentage of paper in the industry. Part of that is just that's the way it had been done for a long time, so it's hard to make that change in behavior. But also, it may not be a paper application. It just may be a PDF that we still need to convert into a digital data set that's more usable. But it's still a problem to be solved in this industry.
Yeah, I think every industry still has a little bit of that somewhere
Right,
that they're trying to root out. But
right.
let's shift gears to underwriting. So underwriting, we all know, is a data-heavy process. There's a lot of investigations required, and it's very slow, oftentimes clunky, and sometimes they make mistakes. So one area of AI, which we don't hear a lot about anymore, is machine learning. And these models are able to improve the speed and accuracy of large-scale processes that require a lot of data, like underwriting. So are
Mhm.
you seeing a role there? And has automation, AI automation, reduced cycle times for underwriting?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the areas where we're seeing the biggest impact of AI already. And there's a direct correlation between the time it takes to apply for insurance and placement rates. So underwriting is the thing that impacts that time the most. So there's the most value there to solve for. I think a few different areas of underwriting that we're seeing is up front in the process, typically there's a needs analysis that happens. So the ability to take what you've gathered about a person and instantly, hit the underwriting engine to come back with some early recommendations on which health class they align to, that can really drive a lot of speed and not having them apply for something that you already know up front they're not going to qualify for. Pretty similar to, pre-qualifying for a mortgage. The last thing you want to do is have someone gather all of the information you have to provide only to be told they don't qualify. So bringing that, up front into the process, I think there's a lot of opportunity where AI can, again, quickly hit all of those underwriting rules and give you that early decision. The other area that we see a lot of it is around the processing of medical records, or I should say the analysis of medical records, where again, AI can quickly assess that, even go gather information from other sources, so that it doesn't take that manual need to review, again, some pretty complex documentation and receive a decision. And then kind of the last area is that, again, if you're out there finding and doing the analysis of, we know these types of individuals will qualify or are a good fit for X product, then, matching them or putting those in front of your distributors as leads, again, they're really qualifying up front. And so that process of underwriting is going to flow very quickly and give you an instant decision. So I think you can see it in all of those areas.
Those are three very robust areas. So you're talking about time and placement rates, medical records analysis, and lead matching.
Yeah.
So of
Mm-hmm.
those, let's just talk about the direct correlation between time and placement rates. So you're talking about giving an earlier decision. than would normally be provided with humans in the underwriting loop. And are you seeing this now, or is this something that's in the future?
I think we're seeing carriers become more comfortable with how can I at least get an upfront recommendation and what's the right data to gather to do that. So I think we're already seeing more products that they will allow straight through processing for,
Mm.
meaning we don't even need to go through the step of all the medical records
Hmm.
and health records that are needed. So that's already happening. What we aren't seeing as much is AI playing a role in driving even further speed
Hmm.
through that process. So I think we'll just see more further acceleration there. But there's definitely a drop off in the sales cycle where we see the biggest impact to placement ratios, and it's typically between days 9 to 13 in the underwriting process. So if you can bypass that portion of the cycle, that's where we typically see the biggest improvement. And again, a lot of times that comes from just getting them to apply to the right product to
Hmm.
begin with. And so you don't waste a lot of time in the cycle.
Is this an example of the cobbler's children have no shoes? If you're seeing these issues in day 9 through 13, wouldn't you fix it on your end?
Meaning like the technology providers
Yeah.
end.
Mhm.
Yeah, yep. And that's absolutely a huge area for investment for us, especially having a platform that has a solution for every step in the process.
Mhm.
It's really about not making that such a sequential process and really having a more dynamic ability to hit the right engines, get those decisions up front. And when you own the distribution workflows, you can get that information in front of the individual that needs to act on it. So I think, technology certainly is playing a huge role in driving that speed because it's where the distribution workflows are happening.
So that's an advantage that iPipeline has in that you also have your own distribution.
Yes, yep, we have that connectivity with the carriers by hosting their products and connecting with their underwriting engines. But really, the big advantage is that big distribution network that I mentioned early on, where you can actually impact the action they're taking because you're the solution they use to apply for those products.
Can you explain that? You can impact the action they're taking. How?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So, um, uh, we have products that allow you to do that needs analysis at the beginning of a sales process. So, because we also connect to an insurer's underwriting engine, when you're completing that, we can get a decision about, yep, this individual looks like they're going to qualify for this health class, and put that decision as a notification on the screen to the agent, and give them that insight to let them know, yep, you're trending in the right direction, continue, or no, you're not. I would recommend this product instead, or take this different step instead. So I think it's just making that decision or that insight, putting that in front of the end user is really where we can play a role in that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yep.
One other thing you mentioned was lead matching. So this can be huge because we've seen this a lot of problems here where leads are not matched to the right agent or the right advisor, or they're not being matched with the right products, which is like not calling them at all. You might as well not even contact them. You're wasting your time. So how is AI doing a better job at lead matching? And what is iPipeline's solution there?
hmm Yeah, I mean it's really critical to get all of those things right, right? The right product for the right consumer at the right time when they're ready to make that decision, and we really can play, iPipeline can play a role in each of those. We have a big partnership with AWS, and if you think about other applications of this sort of personalization or matchmaking technology. That's huge in your Amazon experience, where you have purchased a pair of shorts, and so they're going to recommend a pair of running shoes that maybe goes along with that. We're using really similar technology to make recommendations around, hey, you fit this profile. Here's the right product for you, and finding the right demographics for that product. The other area that we can, again, play more of that personalization or matching role is around looking for life events that we know trigger the potential decision to purchase insurance. So can analyze social media or other public records to figure out, again, individuals that are encountering those sort of life events, and get those in front of distribution as leads. The other direction that can go then is you have an individual, you've learned a lot about what they need and what they're trying to purchase. Now go through and assess your inventory of products and recommend the right one. So I think that matchmaking can go in both directions.
It's as it should, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
just limit yourself to one way or the other. But when you're doing, as you mentioned, the right product for the right consumer at the right time, how are you tracking that? Do you have, I mean, you must be uniquely qualified because you've got the entire life cycle. So you can see if the AI recommended a certain product at a certain time, did that product get purchased or not? To know if
Right.
that you should be resurfacing that advice for another advisor because it works X% of the time.
Right. Absolutely. I think we have a key advantage of, one, having the broadest distribution network. So we're not looking at one carrier's products. We're looking across the entire industry. And when the larger the data set you have, really, right, the more insights you can gather from it. So I think that's one key advantage. The other is what you mentioned, because we can actually track, did that convert, to a sold policy or not? And start to make that assessment. Then again, we can bring those insights back earlier into the process. So that really combination of the network and having the full life cycle data is a key advantage to match the right products to the right people.
It reminds me of the book, What Would Google Do? If they owned an insurance business, what would they do? Well, they would give it away for free and sell you ads, right?
Right.
But they also figure out all kinds of statistics. They would only propagate. They would build a report that was dynamic that showed the most popular policies being sold today to your demographic and your geographic location and your age group, your family situation with your income level. Here's the ones that people like you are buying. What do you think? And it would give you reviews of each one of those. Each one of the carriers would have a review, a Google review. Oh, this carrier is very good. This carrier, lets too many of their clients down, or something like that. So, are you doing something similar where you're trying to become the Google of the insurance industry?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly trying to, again, leverage the vast amount of data we have to make really intelligent recommendations, because ultimately, like, the more insurance or annuity products that get sold, yes, we grow, but our carrier partners grow as well too, and then they can invest more back, into future growth or future market needs.
I want to move on to a couple of areas before we run out of time. Predictive analytics. So personalizing the strategy with predictive models. And this is also an area that's been around for a while. This is not like generative AI, which is brand new. Predictive analytics have been around for 2 decades. So how do you see this branch of AI leveraging historical and behavioral data? And can it tailor life insurance products to individual customers? Is it actually working? And do you have any examples of real time or real life personalization in practice that you've seen?
Yeah. I think this is certainly relevant in this industry, and really it's around that ability to take more traditional actuarial data and combine that with additional
Mm,
sources, and that's where you get more intelligent predictions, where again those machine learning models can apply, and we can start to see things like real-time risk scoring for applicants, or a more portfolio level risk analytics for carriers, things like dynamic pricing recommendations. Again, it's all about combining a number of different data sources and then evolving the intelligence you get from that, kind of based on market conditions or competitive intelligence, and applying those learnings and making recommendations real time. I think that the other part of your question was kind of where are we seeing this already happen?
mm,
And I think one area is the amount of risk carriers are willing to take on for things like straight through processing. They're already using analytics to make those decisions at a higher threshold than they did before. And then I think the other is, typically today you kind of start with one product and you go through the
mm,
application process. What we're seeing a lot more is, okay, we know the key variables that consumers care about. So let's start with three recommendations, kind of compare those and understand how that's going to
mm.
change pricing, or other variables, and what the product definition is, to have a more dynamic experience and a more personalized experience with the consumers.
So speaking about personalization and personalized experience, where are you seeing AI provide the most value there? Is it, as you mentioned before, matching the right product to the right customer? Is it customizing the products specifically for unusual situations, or is it providing sales advice on how to agents and how to sell that particular product to their clients?
I think there's a little bit in each of those areas. I'll start with maybe where are we not seeing it as much. And where we're not seeing it as much is, I'm going to dynamically create and personalize a product that doesn't exist today. So I'm just going to gather some information, and it's not a product the carrier's defined, and I'm just going to create one on the fly. We haven't seen a shift that far yet. Again, where we are seeing it more is, there's this set of products that already exist. And as I'm interacting with the consumer, and that might be in a new way, that might just be typing in information and having a conversation, I'm looking through that inventory and recommending the right product. So
Hmm.
um, certainly seeing steps towards that.
Hmm.
The other area is that, every individual is going to probably have something a little different they care about. It might be they want to keep their premium at a certain level, or the length of their policy at a certain level, or their death benefit at a certain level. So again, it's being able to more dynamically understand what's important to them, and then being able to match that with, okay, if you make that decision, here's how your premium is going to go up. Oh, you don't want your premium
Hmm.
to go up? Well, then I need to lower your death benefit.
Hmm.
So again, that kind of more dynamic selling experience is, I think, the other area where you're seeing that personalization happen, and it's really delivering a lot better customer experience for the consumer.
Katie, we're almost out of time. That has gone by really fast. I wanted to sneak in one more question about your roadmap. What's coming down the pike for iPipeline in the next 6 to 12 months? What can current clients and prospects look forward to?
Yeah. Love that question, because I'm really excited about what we're working on, and we're focused in three different areas. One is, again, upfront in the process, the ability to really drive speed in getting new products, new insurance or annuity products to market, and heavily investing in AI to drive speed and automation about that. We know the faster we can get products to market, then the faster they can be sold. So that's one key area. The other is then, again, big investment from an underwriting perspective, because we have solutions in each stage of the life cycle, and we have that connectivity between carriers and distributors. Our ability to surface those real-time decisions or predictive analytics and get those in front of distribution is another key area of investment for us. And then lastly is really all around the data and personalization engines, predictive engines that need to power those types of workflows and experiences. So I think we have all the right ingredients and, again, the right connectivity to the industry and distribution network to really drive a lot of value.
Katie, you've said it all. We are out of time. Where can the audience find out more information about iPipeline?
Yep, iPipeline.com. You can find more from our website. And then we are consistently pushing out more information about innovations and where we're going via LinkedIn and other social media sources.
Fantastic. Katie, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. It's AI all the way down. Consumer expectations are driving digital-first, personalized experiences, according to Katie. Distribution needs the right data, platform, and UX to meet changing demands. And insurance carriers are leveraging advanced analytics for market assessment and product development. Some of the key areas that AI is showing some benefit is pre-populating insurance applications, making speedier decisions, and personalization. We also spoke a bit about AI in underwriting and how machine learning models are improving the speed and accuracy of underwriting, which we all can appreciate. There's lead matching based on underwriting criteria, and there's direct correlation between underwriting speed and placement rates. And we got a little bit of an in-depth, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain at some of iPipeline's roadmap over the next 6 to 12 months, including, of course, accelerating new products with AI in them, enhancing underwriting with real-time decisions and predictive analytics, and developing data and personalization engines to power these AI initiatives. All right, you've reached the end of another episode of the WealthTech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, head to our website, edgegroup.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.